How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. It's Happy
Going.
Sunday Fun Day.
Yeah, right. Trying to get where that
I like to call
light
it
behind
Savage
me.
Sunday. You never know
Right.
what's going to happen.
There you go.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for making the time to join me today. We've had a couple of reschedules from
Right.
both between everything that's happened between us the last few weeks.
Right.
We
Oh
made
yeah.
it happen. So thank you for that availability
Of course.
and
Of
understanding
course.
what I was going through. I understand the whole voice thing. I get it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was like, man, I mean, it was all I could do to even say a word or two, and it's like it was. I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this, and I was like popping cough drops and stuff, and
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like,
You
oh
said you
man.
had 3 shows in a row. And so by
Yeah.
the time the podcast would have came, you were just like, I can't talk.
Yeah, it was bad. And like I don't normally do lead vocals, and I had to do lead vocals at one show, and that just fucked me up, man. It was bad.
So, do you like doing lead, or is that something
No,
you just did a quick fill in and you don't want to do it again?
yeah, I mean, like our singer couldn't. I don't know what happened, but oh, I know what it was. Like the show got moved, or actually, it got canceled, and then it got like it was somebody's house or something. Something happened. The venue like couldn't put the show on, so somebody like had it in their garage or whatever, and it was like insane. Like we're just in the middle of Wichita, Kansas, just in the middle of downtown, like playing in somebody's garage at like midnight, and like nobody called the cops or anything. It was nuts, and there
Well,
was
that's
like
a good thing.
there's tons of people there too. We sold a shitload of merch, and it was fantastic. But so what happened was our singer canceled. Like the show got canceled, so we told him that he made plans like 0.5 seconds later, and like he's like, well, I already made plans, and like with his kid, and so
Oh
we're like,
wow,
oh well, I'll sing then, and so I end up having to sing the set, and man, it was rough.
that,
So
that makes sense. Then I mean, you're not used to doing the main vocal, so your voice was
yeah,
not. You didn't prep for that shit.
right, yeah, it was like the night before, so yeah, I was like, man, I don't. This is gonna be rough, but I'll try. And the PA was great, but I still had to like really project
Right.
and like I'd never sang and played this particular set we're doing before, and so it was kind of difficult, but we made it, and nobody even knew. They're like, "You're not the singer," and I'm like, "No." It's like, "Thanks,
But you
man."
did it. You killed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, wasn't
That's
bad at
good.
all. Yeah.
Your voice
Thanks.
came back after a day or so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was all
So
good. A couple days.
nice. Well, for those who don't know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
would you like to introduce yourself, who you are,
Yeah.
what you play, and who we're missing?
Yeah, I'm Richie Randall. I play guitar in Gravehuffer, um, do some backing vocals, and Travis McKenzie is our lead vocalist. Mike Gilgi is our bass player, and our drummer is Todd Morrison. Um, and we also have a guy named Luke Randolph that helps us out with like local shows and stuff because Todd lives in Colorado Springs, like 10, 11 hours away. And so anytime we book shows like just around the area, we'll have Luke fill in so Todd doesn't have to drive all this way to play a local show. So
Mm. All right. Well, I'm glad that one of you were able to make it. So,
thank you.
I got a whole school of questions, obviously. Now, you guys were created. Your birth was in '08,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys actually started out with the name Crom.
Right.
How'd that go about?
Well, Mike, myself, and our original drummer, Larry Deerdorf, we were in a band in like the mid 90s, 96, 97, and called Initial Detonation. And that lasted for 3 or 4 years. And then I got married, had kids, and I didn't do music there for a little bit. And Mike and Larry, they kind of did some stuff here and there. And then 2008 rolls around, and it was like, hey, let's get the band back together, And so they called me up and like, hey, you want to play music again? I was like, hell yeah. So we started out basically the three of us with a different singer, which his name was James Heiser, and that was Crom. And we never were really like super sold on the whole Crom band name. It comes from Conan the Barbarian, if some of you
Did it
aren't familiar.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering where I heard that from. I'm like, why does that sound
Sound
familiar?
familiar? Yeah. Crom. Crom,
Right.
and so
That's
Arnold,
great.
Arnold. So yeah, that's what it's from. I think our drummer Larry just blurted it out when we were trying to come up with names. He just goes Crom, and we're like, man, that might be kind of cool. And so we stuck with that for a while, and there's a bunch of bands called Crom out there, and so we were starting to get confused with other bands with that name, and so we changed it to Gravehuffer in 2012, and so we've been Gravehuffer ever since. Although we've had a couple lineup changes, but Mike and I have been kind of the core um, members, but we've had several different drummers and then a couple of different vocalists, but yeah, it's pretty much been the same kind of style of music, like just an extreme metal with some punk in there, just all over the place, really.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, you guys cover a wide range of genres,
Right. Yeah.
But in the end, it's the doom gloom. I mean,
Yeah. Honestly,
yeah. And so, how did you guys come about the name Gravehuffer? Where'd that come from? What's the story behind that?
Gravehuffer was it was a friend of ours. He was going to call his band Gravehuffer, and it was like this like psychobilly kind of like stand up bass and kind of like the Misfits or something,
Right?
but boom, like a rockabilly version of it. And we're like Gravehuffer. I was like, man, that's more like a metal band. And he's like, oh
Yeah.
no, more like Misfits. I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. And he never did get that going. And then when we were looking for band names after the whole Crom thing, we were like, hey, dude, um, you ever gonna use that band name, Gravehuffer? And he's like, you can have it. Just give me a piece of merch every now and then, or a T-shirt or something.
Fair
And
enough.
so we just told Dozer his name. His name's Dozer. We say, hey Doze, here's what we got right now, and so we throw him some merch every now and then for the name, and because
That's
everybody's always
cool.
like, damn, that name is badass, and where'd you come up with that? And it's
Yeah.
like we really didn't come up with it, So
You
so
took that
yeah,
shit.
we did, yeah. We're like, yeah, we're borrowing it,
Right?
but we just thought it
Indefinitely
sounded
too.
cool. Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, you borrowed it indefinitely, and now it's yours. And
yeah.
you guys have been taken off. I'm gonna pick up my pot here. Okay.
Yeah, we're
Now
trying.
I know that I saw that you guys actually just had a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
The band is now 15 years old.
Yes.
Happy
Yep.
birthday! I'm not singing.
Yay.
That's about as far as I'm going with that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
and in 15 years now, do you have you reached some of the goals that you guys had when you first started?
Oh yeah. One of the goals we had was to put our music on vinyl, which we've done several times now, which has
Yeah.
been really cool. Like we've always wanted to do that, and we did an initial detonation, but it was more singles on, like the 45s, and
Mm-hmm.
we put like 3 or 4 songs on a 7-inch. And but we're like, man, we want to put out the full 12-inch vinyl, colored vinyl, all that stuff, and we've done that. And the new record's actually coming out on like 3 different colors, and
Oh, that's good.
that'll be sometime this fall. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, that was one of the big goals. And then just touring, I guess, and we kind of do it a little different, but we usually do like the ninja runs, the 3 or 4 day like weekend
Right.
kind of things.
Yeah. You guys
Go
do
in
a
a
lot of mini
Friday, go in a
tours.
Monday. We do a lot of those. I mean, we've been going everywhere from like Colorado to New Jersey to Florida and everywhere in between. And so yeah, that we're continuing to do that, and we're hoping to maybe get with a booking agent to start doing some actual like 2 week runs here and
Okay.
there. Maybe be part of a package deal type thing.
Right.
Maybe play some bigger places and stuff.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So that was going to be one of the things I wanted to know. Was it a
yeah, yeah.
preference to do the mini tours, or
Hmm.
is it a long time goal to eventually get into the 2 week runs and stuff like that?
Yeah, honestly, like the mini runs are really cool too, though. I mean, we want to try to like combine both, but it's kind of hard to do it DIY and get the routing and stuff the way you want it. And Having a booking agent really helps, but you got to have money for that, and so we're trying
Absolutely.
to we're trying to save up money for it, and because most of these agents want a flat fee per month or per 6 months or whatever the contract is, and so
Right.
that's kind of what we're looking for next year, and of course writing new material and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of looking slightly further ahead, but
Okay. Well, that's good that you guys accomplished some of the goals that you already had
yeah,
intended.
yeah,
So
and
what?
just putting out records and material, and we put out four albums
Mhm.
in the time we've been around, and I wish we would have taken it a little serious a little sooner, but I feel like here lately we've been taking it more, not serious, but more putting more of a hustle into it, I guess, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
better late
Sorry,
than
sorry
never.
to cut you off.
No, it's totally cool. Totally cool. I like to talk, so feel free to cut me out.
Right on, right on.
So now, in the last 15 years, what are some of your most memorable moments?
um, Goodness. Well, we've played some pretty big shows. We played some shows with some of our heroes, like we've opened for DRI and
Mhm.
Vader and Immolation and um, The Obsessed, and just a bunch of really, bands we've looked up to. Those are always really fun, and it's always pretty cool when you meet your heroes and they're
Yeah.
just down to earth people. They're just like us, and
Right.
they're just out there doing their thing too. And everybody we've played with and have talked to and shared the stage with, they've all been just fantastic. And so a lot of the times they'll just be there at the merch booth selling stuff too. And like DRI, they're so DIY it hurts. Like they're
Right.
always at their own merch table. They're always like hauling their own gear, and like it's refreshing to see. And then when they pull up to town, they're drawing 500 people or whatever,
Mm.
but they're still doing it their old school way. And I feel like that we've been around long enough to where that's kind of how we approach things, but we also want to get some help too. you know
Right.
but we don't want to like get too crazy with it. We want to still be self-sufficient, not have to take out loans for stuff, and because we,
Right.
we make enough through selling merch and playing shows to where we don't have to pay out of pocket for stuff. And that's kind of where we're wanting to
Hmm.
keep it, but just expand on it if we can. So
Speaking of merch, I saw that the Maryland Doom Fest, you guys sold out of your merch in 2 hours and you weren't even scheduled to play.
right. Yeah, we
That's
played
awesome.
yeah, it is really cool. We played Maryland Doom Fest a couple years ago,
Hmm.
and it was a blast. So much fun. And we made a lot of good connections there, a lot of good friends, played with some cool bands. And
Hmm.
our label Black Doomba Records, they had their merch table set up, and he sold out all the Gravehuffer stuff in 2 hours, he said. And we were like, holy crap, man, that's pretty awesome. He said he
Yeah.
sold like 8 records and 8 CDs, and all the stickers and stuff. And I was like, holy crap, dude, that's pretty cool. He goes, you guys are definitely well known here. And I was like, well, that
Hmm.
helps that we've played before. And so that was pretty cool to see. And because we don't ever assume that people know who we are, and
Right.
when you get a message from your record label saying that your stuff sold out in a couple hours before bands really even started playing or whatever, that's pretty neat,
Yeah.
and that gives us a kind of, I mean, it's a good feeling, but it also gives us like, well, maybe we need to concentrate on playing in that area next year if people are buying stuff,
Right.
especially if we're not even playing, that's pretty interesting. I thought that
Yeah.
was,
That's pretty
I'd
cool, man.
never,
That's a great
yeah,
accomplishment. You didn't even lift a
I thought it
finger.
was, yeah, I mean, it was kind of mind blowing to be honest, because I mean, we don't really think of ourselves as like a band that's just going to sell a ton of records, and so I mean, I know that's not a lot, but it's we probably would have sold more if he would have had more, and so it's pretty cool that people like it, and that's the goal, honestly, or the bonus, I guess. We just play music we like, and if everybody else likes, that's cool too,
Right.
you know.
Well, you're obviously doing something right, but it's that's why I tell people don't ever look at numbers. Numbers don't justify how
Right.
many people really know you. I mean,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
if you're known everywhere. It's like
Right.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of people. I know a shit ton of people over here. I'm in Chicago. Everyone's like, awesome, you're bringing in Gravehuffer, and I'm like, we're gonna make this happen because we had to keep rescheduling it.
Right.
And
Cool.
it's I've been listening to your music for quite a few years, and I definitely
Nice.
think that your latest album is one of my favorites, and you have an
Right.
awesome video in there. We'll get to that
Thank you.
later.
Yeah. Right
I
on.
love that we have it. We're going to be playing it.
Cool.
It was definitely one of my favorites. But um, yeah, you do have a recent album though. It's called "Depart from So Much Evil."
Mm-hmm.
Well, oh, the screen blacked out for a second.
Oh,
All
sorry.
right. Um, so how's that been? How's that been since the release?
Man, it's really been fantastic, to be honest. Like, the reviews we've been getting have been just unreal. Like, I almost can't even believe it. I mean, we worked real hard on it, and I'm not gonna lie that getting the attaboys and the pats on the back is pretty cool. I'm not, that's always good. But I honestly didn't think that it was going to be as good as it has been, because we knew we were taking a pretty big risk writing a 22-minute song for a thrashy punk band. Like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, we're not trying to be a progressive band or anything like that, but this was something, the whole Dante's Divine Comedy thing, the Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradise. That's kind of that was the reason we did the record. The other 5 songs, not saying we just threw them together, because we worked hard on those too, but that was the impetus for this new album. This is that song, and Mike and I have been talking about wanting to record that for years, like even before Gravehuffer, before Crom. Like, I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I feel like now we just felt, well, we've got a really, really good group of musicians in this band, and we feel like maybe now we can pull it off. And we just didn't feel like we could pull it off before, or maybe not everybody was on board or whatever. And now everybody's on board. We feel like we can pull it off, and so we decided, let's just dive in and do it. And some people have been saying, "Oh, it's a masterpiece," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Hold on." Like, and I mean, and that's just mind blowing to me. Like, to be a part of something that people are bringing up in conversation, that's something worth talking about. So it's pretty awesome, really. Um, I don't know if I'm really answering your question whatsoever, but I just
No,
started
you
going
totally did.
on.
I love that you're staying so humble. I respect that
Oh,
so much.
right.
You're
Yeah,
staying very
thanks.
humble and very true to yourself, and that's
Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah,
do
we're
like
just
that.
regular dudes playing like I say, we just play what we want to hear and play what we like. And we talked to a guy that reviewed the record, and he's not even into our style of music at all, but he said it's like one of his favorite albums of the year. And I'm like, holy shit, man. He goes, well, he's more into like doom and stoner. And he goes, you guys somehow managed to pull in some of the doom crowd. And I'm like, I have no idea, man. I was like, we're not even trying to be a doom or stoner band. We've got a little bit of that going on in spots, but I think, like, kind of like what you were saying in the beginning of this interview, we're kind of all over the place, and
Right?
some people, I feel like, that turns them off, and it's usually, I'm not trying to be ageist or anything, but it's usually like the younger people. Like, they're a little
Mm-hmm.
more like, how do I explain this without pissing people off? I
I get
remember like, you know what I mean?
that.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, you're kind of elitist, I mean, you want things in these like little compartments and these little boxes, and
Right.
like, this is thrash, this is death metal, this is black metal, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And
but
now there's like 20 different genres
yeah,
connected to each different genre now.
exactly, like
Yeah.
power violence and blah. I'm like, holy shit, dude. And I had somebody share something with me the other day, and it was like, hey, Richie, check this out. And it was like power violence, and people in the comments were like, this isn't power violence, I'm disliking this. I'm like, are you really gonna do that? Like, it's just weird to me. I don't understand that line of thinking. Like, our influences are like from the 60s and 70s a lot of the times, and
Mm,
a lot of that stuff was all over the place,
right,
and it was just like it was extreme music. That's kind of what we say we are. We want to be extreme sounding, whether it's
right.
extremely heavy, extremely dark, extremely soft, whatever, we just want everything to have a sincerity to it. And
Right.
so yeah, that's, I guess, the best answer for that, but I'm just
Well,
going
no, I
off.
mean no, but it makes sense. I mean, our generation, we grew up. We grew up with such a wide range of genres that
Right,
we were
right,
influenced by in
exactly.
the 80s and 90s and stuff. Even though we grew up with all of our, my parents, I grew up with a totally different style of music, and I'm Italian, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
typically Generation X, I mean, that's a wide
Hmm.
range of
Yep.
genre of music. I'm musically
Right.
eclectic. I'm very well
Hmm.
rounded,
Hmm.
love
Yeah,
everything.
same.
So when I hear the bands of today actually throwing everything in one, they're just like, we're just doing us, you know?
Hmm.
And the
Yeah,
shit's
exactly.
it's taken off. I mean, it makes sense. And there's so much, there's so many of us who are loving the bands that are doing this, that are
Right,
that are creating this music that takes
right.
a blend of everything and they're
Yeah,
making it happen.
right. Yeah, I totally agree. You're like, most of
Mhm.
my favorite stuff is stuff that's just like a big blended melting pot of all kinds of weird stuff. And like,
That's actually a good way to explain it too. It's like it's
yeah,
a
it is. It is. It's just like this melting pot, and um, I just tend to gravitate more towards that kind of stuff. And
right.
like, my parents were into like Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, and they got me into that as a kid. And my mom and dad named me after Deep Purple's guitar player, Richie Blackmore. And so that
Cool.
was like, I guess I better be a guitar player. but
It was
that's
destiny for you. You were
yeah, it was
destined.
destiny.
That's
Yeah,
it.
hell yeah. And so that's just what I grew up on, and I feel like that's really been a huge influence on my tastes,
Hmm.
as an adult too. Not to mention learning how to play guitar and then reading all the magazines and getting into all the more extreme like death metal and black metal and industrial and just whatever. And we just mix all that together, and I don't know, it's like you write a song and you hear that it needs something from, it doesn't really matter what the genre is, but you're hearing, maybe this needs a keyboard part, maybe this needs a
Hmm.
weird sound, maybe this needs a sample, or maybe this needs just bass, or maybe the drums sit out here. We don't really think about that doesn't sound death metal enough, or that doesn't,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
if it
You
comes
you
out
end,
that
you end up
way.
hearing the imperfections. You don't hear the music that was created. You hear the imperfections or what you're not hearing. It's like you're
Right,
always going to
exactly.
find that negative
Yeah.
side to shit. And everyone
Right.
else is
Yeah.
like, dude, no, it sounds killer. The hell's wrong
Yeah,
with you?
exactly. Yeah, we're just like, okay, that's cool. And man, it's usually after the fact that we notice that it sounds like, man, that sounds like old black metal, or that's, like, oh, because we're not really consciously thinking it needs to sound a specific way. We're just thinking it needs to have this type of vibe, I guess,
Hmm.
you know?
You get that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this album,
Hmm.
does one person write the music or does everybody?
It's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Like for the whole Dante thing, it was COVID time, so we weren't really like getting together to write.
Right.
So everybody was kind of writing their own stuff on their own, which we'd never done that before. And gosh, I've still got probably hundreds of riffs on my phone of labeled Inferno, Purgatory, Paradise, Dante this, Dante that. And I was looking at it the other day. I was like, holy crap, there's a ton of stuff we never even used.
Hmm.
And so we'll just pull all those ideas together, and everybody will listen to everybody's stuff, and then we just think, okay, that's cool for this, that's cool for this part. And like, dude, I don't know how. Mike was the one that pretty much arranged everything. Like, we'd send everything to him, and he's like, I think this needs to go here. This would be cool in this place. This would be cool in this place.
Hmm.
And so yeah, he's really good at like arranging all the ideas everybody's throwing out there, and putting it into where where feels like it sounds the best, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess you would say like, we're trying to tell the story through music, and so um, okay, it needs to start slow because he's trudging through the woods, and then I don't know if you're familiar with Dante's Divine Comedy or Inferno or any of that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's like basically like heaven, purgatory, or it's like hell, purgatory, and paradise, and you're going into hell, and so the first part's pretty. I mean, it's pretty not black metal, but well, I
Mm-hmm.
guess some of it is kind of black metal, death metal. That was just kind of how we thought it needed to sound.
Right.
And so yeah, we put all that shit together, and the purgatory part where it's just ambient weird noises and screams and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that was at first we were thinking, well, let's have that be like real slow doomy stuff, and then I don't know who came up with how it ended up, but it was like, how about we just not even have the band play through that part? And so it's just like, I think 3 notes throughout the whole thing, and then we've got people from all over the world screaming on it. And what we did was we put on social media, please send in your screams if you want to be put on our new record.
That's great.
And so people were texting us and emailing us and
But that makes it
sending,
legit though too.
yeah,
You get different range and different sound.
oh yeah,
So I could see that.
yeah. It was so cool. Like, we had people from like Germany and Russia and
Cool.
like Canada and all over the world sending in just crazy blood curdling screams.
Yeah,
And
it's
so we
fun.
we mixed all this stuff together in like this little 3-minute section. And it's, of course, it's not all like, it's all kind of ambient, it's low in the mix, but if you hear
Mm-hmm.
it on headphones, you're like, ooh, it's pretty spooky.
Yeah.
And it bogged down Mike's computer because there were so many tracks of all these people screaming and stuff, and we were like actually sitting there trying to figure out, well, that scream would be cool right here, and like it was crazy how
Depending on depending on the spot in the video and the movie that matched
yeah,
that you guys incorporated
right,
with it.
yeah. I
That
mean,
is great.
it was pretty wild. So so yeah, that was it was definitely an undertaking doing
Yeah.
all that stuff, but yeah, I mean, back to your question. we all
Yeah,
kind of
no. I mean, that's totally cool.
we all kind of
We have Robert here who has a
oh
question
yeah,
for you. He says, "Do
okay.
you use Pro Tools, Reaper, or Logic to record?"
None. We use Adobe, what the hell is it, Audition, something like that. I don't know. Our bass player, it's his, he uses Adobe Audition, I think it's Audition. Anyway, um
So no.
so yeah, no, I mean, Logic would be the one like I would want to use, but and Pro Tools, I know that's the industry standard. Reaper is, I think that's more of a freeware kind of thing that I know a lot of people use, and apparently it's
Mhm.
really cool. But yeah, Adobe Audition CC, that's the one we use, and we get made fun of it a lot. But I mean, we've been using it for a long time.
You're old school.
We're old school,
Hmm.
and we've got we just buy the Adobe package, and it's got Premiere for videos, it's got
Hmm.
Audition for recording, it's got Photoshop for the artwork, and it's all just there in one spot. And so that's what we've been
Right.
using since like 2000, whatever, early 2000s. And so yeah, it's just kind of where we've been. It's what we've been using this whole time, and we use like a analog mixer to go into before it goes into the computer, and that kind of helps get the kind of warm, naturally compressed sound or whatever. And I've had a few people mention that, like, you guys don't sound like you're recording digital. And I'm like, well, we are, but it's kind of cool people are realizing that we're using a lot of analog gear to get the sounds we're trying to get.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
Yeah. So now we were talking about Inferno,
Uh-huh.
and I do have the video. And
Yeah.
with your permission, I'd like to play it so everyone can check out Inferno.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Definitely a great video. I mean, it's a great song with the video. I mean, just we'll talk about it afterward.
Okay, yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
definitely want to talk about that.
All right, right on.
All right, guys. So here's from their latest album, "Depart from So Much Evil," which is a great name. And the song is called Inferno. Oh, man. Blow that up. There we go. I love the look of this. This is great.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like I said, after it's over with, I'll let you know how we did this.
I think it for the best thou follow me, and I will be beggared, and lead thee hence through the eternal place, where thou shalt hear the desperate lamentations, shalt see the ancient spirits disconsolate, who cry out each one for the second death.
Fuck it. That's just absolutely great. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, dude, that's
You
yeah,
know,
that was wild.
that was actually depicted from a movie from Italy over 100.
Yes.
It's almost 115 years old now. God, it's crazy to say that.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
from 1911 from La Inferno.
Yep. Exactly.
Dude, that was trippy as hell. I mean, that whole
Right.
video, when I first saw it, I'm like, this is fucking great.
Right. Right. You say
I
you're
love
Italian?
Satan using people as a chew toy.
Yeah. Right. Did you say you're Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First generation. My parents are from Italy. I mean, my dad grew up here, though. He came young. My mom, though, I'm a 180 of how I'm supposed to be.
Right on.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that, though.
Right on.
So,
Yeah.
so whose idea was it to incorporate the movie with the video?
That was our bass player, Mike. That was his idea. Um, he tends to be more into the, I guess, visual presentation
Absolutely.
of the band, and so he tends to do a lot of the video treatment and stuff, um, and a lot of the art. Me and him kind of tag team the art stuff, but the video stuff he tends to do most of that. Um, Sometimes I'll go kind of hang out with him and maybe give suggestions, but excuse me, yeah, that's pretty much all Mike. But yeah, I had no idea that movie even existed until he put the video
Same.
together. I was like, where the hell did you find this? And he
Right. No,
told
I mean,
me,
that's
and
great. You know,
yeah, and
you know,
so he told me it was very
my parent, my mom, never showed me, and I never was raised watching Italian movies, so I didn't even know that
Oh, right
existed.
on.
So when
Okay.
I was looking, when I was doing, my research, I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Right.
I'm gonna bring this up to my parents later.
Yeah, right. Hey,
Be like,
heard of
you
this?
know anything about this? They'll probably look at me. No, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
They're all holier than thou, and then they have someone
Oh,
like me
wow.
for a kid, so I kind of went left on them. Yeah, it happens.
All right.
So, now that video was great, and
Thank you.
what exactly? I mean, I get it. It's Inferno. Again, what was the whole concept of it? Like, how did that song come about?
Well, honestly, we're just trying to follow the book, or well, I guess it's a poem by Dante. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Alighieri or something like that. But
I'm not gonna even try.
so yeah, going back, he was he Italian?
Right.
I think he was Italian as well. So yeah, we're sticking with Italy here, but so yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the inspiration for it all. But I'm not even sure if the video. I'm not even sure that was like thought about until after the song was already like recorded and all that stuff, But yeah, we're just like I said earlier, we're just trying to tell the story of Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradise with
Right.
music, And when we first played it for Tommy Stewart from Black Doomba Records, he's the label head. He's like, man, he goes, I feel like I just listened to a death metal movie, We're like, yeah. And hey, he's in. He's got several bands he's in as well,
Right.
and he plays some crazy sounding bass guitar in Purgatory, and his drummer Dennis Reed plays some percussion in there, and we got all kinds of guests on that song. Inferno actually has Cam Lee from Massacre. He sings the last two like verses where Satan's like before he's like eating people,
Right. The chew toy.
And yeah. And so yeah, he sings vocals, and then the solo is Curran Murphy, who was in Annihilator and Nevermore. He plays that crazy, wild, hellish solo. But yeah, I mean, we were just wanting it to be intense for the Inferno section, and Purgatory was supposed to be just kind of like aimless and like Purgatory, there's no, you don't really know what's going on, and so that's kind of the concept there.
Right.
The hardest part to write for was Paradiso or Paradise, and that was like, how the hell are we gonna write about heaven and it still be extreme and heavy,
Right.
but we found out a way. And so, yeah, that was definitely a challenge. And I think the very first, the first riff that starts with that, I was playing it kind of high up on the neck and these weird chords. And I thought when I first like submitted it or whatever, I submit's kind of not the best way to word it, but when I first showed it to the guys in the band, in the back of my mind, I was like, they're gonna hate this, and they're like, "What is that? That's really cool," and that's always kind of like, whew, because you're taking a risk,
Right.
That's something I never would have ever played that before, because it's kind of like this, like, I don't even know how to describe it, kind of like 80s metal, kind of like Jakey Lee or George Lynch, or like, Doc and Ozzy,
Right.
kind of, like, or Randy Rhoads kind of thing. And we don't typically go there too often. I mean, every once in a while that comes through, but it really does in
The
Paradise.
softer side of you.
Yeah. Well, I don't even. I mean, to me, it's not soft, but it's just more
Well, it's not,
melodic.
but compared to
Yeah,
what you guys play,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just. I guess it's more melodic, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, that to me it made sense. It's Paradise. Uh, we just like, how can we bring it out some melody but still retain the extreme heaviness of it? And
Right.
that was a big challenge without it sounding, for lack of a better word, like wimpy. I mean, it still had to have this, like, because Dante's kind of still, it's Paradise, but he's like, he doesn't know what it is, and so he's still pretty freaked out. So we wanted to kind of have how Dante feels, throughout this whole thing. That's kind of where we would try to put our heads when we were writing the music. It's kind of weird, but it was pretty interesting though to basically write music to a story that already exists.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, it's definitely a killer song, and
Thank you.
the video is just fucking great. I mean, just the
Right.
different. There's so many different parts of that video I just absolutely love.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's only like
It's also the way to think, to see how different everyone's perspective is. From
right.
heaven and
Exactly.
hell to begin with, and that's about 115 years ago almost. The way that
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just great. And back then that kind of video was extremely racy. Extremely racy. It's not the kind of thing that they would publicize. And that kind of movie, it wasn't normal for that that time and age. But for us, it's like, dude, that's fucking great. They were like 100 years ahead of their time.
Yeah. On
and you're able to use it
comments
again.
for the video, there's even people that are like, "This is a weird piece of film," and I was like, "Yeah, imagine when 1911 when it came out, what people thought about it."
It was definitely very controversial at that time. We don't even have to. Obviously, we weren't around for it, but we know how they were.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's definitely a really cool movie, even back then, and now you're able to recreate it and bring it back to life 115 years later in Inferno. Beautiful.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'm glad that people have, like, it's kind of like it's got people to actually check out the movie and stuff, and
right now I want to do it too.
Yeah, and like, and it's pretty, because it's interesting. It's really interesting piece of film, and like, I'm just watching it, like, the effects they used in that, like, they were just beginning to even make film, let alone how did they do that? Like, just like the big giant picking up the people, and like, I'm like, how did they do that? Like, it's like they were just really ahead of their time.
Right. Then they had the floating angels in the beginning at one point.
Where
the angels were on the top.
Yep.
When they had the two chicks that came in, they just looked like they were dazed. But you could see the string. You could see the string, but that was how they floated. Back then.
Right. Yeah.
And they still do it that way. It's just more. They can hide it more now.
Right. Yeah.
But definitely, it was a cool blend. It was
for sure.
It was an awesome idea to put that in there. It was great.
Yeah.
So now, out of this album, what is your favorite song that you recorded?
Well, probably the Depart from So Much Evil. I mean, that was because we don't play the whole song live. Right now, we're just playing what you saw Inferno. We're just playing that section. Because Purgatory would be like really almost impossible to do live, and Paradise, we might do that live in the future, but it's like 10 minutes, and so I'm not sure how we're gonna. And there's so much stuff going on even in that. but yeah, I would say that, and probably there's a song called "The Cryptid and the Iron Bird." It's the third track on the record. That's a
Yeah.
song that it's kind of cool because that song, it's about almost 6 minutes, and it goes through a lot of changes and a lot of tempo changes, and um, it kind of is a good precursor for the Depart from So Much Evil, and then Brainstorms after that, and it's even more melodic and
Yeah, I was gonna say Brainstorm was probably like the softest one on that album.
yeah,
Well,
right,
it's so weird to say that word.
yeah,
You
right,
know,
yeah,
but again, it was like the softest one compared to the rest of the songs. But still, man, the whole album is a great fucking album.
right. Thank you. Yeah, and it's we kind of wanted it to start out like just more of our typical stuff, just our fast, just like Napalm Death influence kind of
Right.
thing, and then the album starts to kind of to go get weird, you know, and but then we had to throw in Go Murder, Pray and Die to kind of break it up just a little bit before you go off into freaking wacky world, So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we're playing Blueprint for an early grave live, and we're playing Go Murder, Pray and Die, and then Inferno, and those songs are going over like super good live, especially Inferno. That
Mm-hmm.
song seems to be people are like, wow, they really seem to be getting into that quite a bit. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a cool song. So, do you have a release date maybe coming up for another song you can drop on us?
Well, I mean, the album's out. It came out in February, so
Okay.
I mean, the vinyl's not out, but it came out in February 17th, I believe,
Right.
and our Bandcamp. You can get the CD on Bandcamp, and it's on all the streaming platforms, and
Mm-hmm.
like your iTunes and Amazon and Apple Music and Spotify and
Mm-hmm.
um,
Now, is this the album that you got? I mean, I know you have several vinyls out there.
mm-hmm.
Is this the one that has the 3 different colors that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, it'll be coming out probably early fall, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Are you gonna have
Um,
one color that's more of a rare find, kind of make it
well,
interesting?
we're gonna have. I'm not real sure of the number, but it's gonna coincide with the three parts of the. There's gonna be like a red Inferno, a
Mm-hmm.
black Purgatory Black, and then like a blue Paradise or something like that.
Okay, I get
Um,
that.
yeah, and it's not gonna be solid colors. It'll be like a splatter or a marbled or something like that. We have yet to see them, but yeah, that'll be coming out this fall, I think. So.
Cool.
Um, the vinyl pressing is so far behind because of the whole COVID pandemic thing,
Right.
and but we just couldn't sit on it for that long because I mean we turned in the masters like last July, like almost a year ago, and our record label was like, well, we can put out the CD and you can at least get it out there and play some of the new material live because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll be wrapping up touring this year by the time the final comes out. We only have a few weeks left, so it's just kind of the nature of it right now. But stuff I think is starting to catch back up now. But
Right.
but yeah, that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I was just saying that's just kind of it was the nature of the beast, I guess.
Right.
Waiting on the records,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. One step at a time, right? It'll
Yeah,
get done.
pretty much.
Yeah, COVID
Yeah,
screwed up a lot of things, but things are pretty
yeah,
much coming back to normal now. Now
yeah.
it's just a matter of catch up. Like, okay, let's
Right.
crank this shit out.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
getting there. Yep.
So now, speaking of tours, you got some tours coming up.
Yep. Yeah. We're like here in a couple weeks, we're gonna do Texas and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing Lubbock, Texas, and that's pretty much on the way to Colorado for us, based out of Southwest Missouri. And then we're gonna do Pueblo, Colorado Springs, and Denver, and then we'll come home and let's see. I think we might have some stuff in August. I'm actually was talking to somebody about that today. Probably just Missouri and Kansas, I believe. Not sure where exactly yet, but September we've got. What do we have? September. Oh, we're doing Peoria, Illinois, I think,
Okay.
and then Detroit, and then Louisville, Kentucky, and feel like there may be another show in there somewhere, like the week before that, somewhere in Kansas. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm having a hard time
No,
remembering.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I can imagine. It's hard to keep track of all this shit.
Right.
It's not just one or two
Yeah.
things. It's a lot of different cities, different time
Right.
frames. I mean, I get it.
And I
So,
think October we're playing Arkansas, Little Rock area most likely, and then we're playing the Tennessee Devastation Metal Fest, which that's gonna be awesome.
yeah.
Feel like maybe we got something else in October as well locally, and then November we're gonna be doing like I think Birmingham, Alabama, Tampa, Florida. We're playing a Tampa Extreme Metal Fest there at the Brass Mug. And then we'll probably be playing something maybe in Atlanta on the way back, possibly. Don't know. But that'll probably wrap everything up for the year. But and then we usually have stuff scattered like in between all that. We'll have stuff locally or maybe an hour or two away, like in Tulsa or St. Louis or Kansas City, even. So Lawrence, Kansas is another good place. You say you're Chicago?
Yeah. I was.
Okay.
I didn't want to cut you off, but you're going to be in Peoria. I think I have an idea of where you're going to be. I was going to say, can we add Chicago to that list?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it'd be nice.
I'm just saying, it's only 3 hours.
Yeah. What are some like places? I mean, I know of some places, but Chicago's been it's been kind of a tough nut to crack for us. I don't know why.
Maybe you need a couple of good nutcrackers.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
May have to talk to you on the other side.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk. Let's just say we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We'll talk about that when we're off air.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I might be able to help out with that. I'll just say.
Cool.
But definitely, I mean, that would be killer to bring you here.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I mean, Peoria is not that far, but it's about 3 hours, 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chicago, totally doable. Totally doable.
Oh,
Can definitely make something happen with that.
Right on. Sounds good.
Yeah. But so you got a couple tours coming. You guys got that going on. Have you guys been working on any new music?
A little bit. Not a whole lot really. We've been pretty busy with playing shows and personal lives, day jobs, all that crap. But but yeah, we've got a few like riffs and stuff that we've had lying around, and when we get together to rehearse for an upcoming mini run, we'll usually have stuff to show each other or whatever. I'd say we have 10, 15 like riffs lying around right now that are new. And then of course we've got stuff that didn't get used from the last record. And I mean, it's just whether or not they aged well or still like what we want to hear, that remains to be seen. But yeah, we basically write like kind of depending on what mood we're in and how we're feeling, and just
what are some triggers for some of your writing?
Well, man, sometimes it's like I'll read, I'll see something or read something, maybe something on the news or somebody will share something with me and gets me fired up or whatever,
Right.
I mean, it's usually nothing in particular. And then sometimes we, will want to write about, something history related, like for whatever reason, we tend to go digging around in the old days and, like the old Dante thing. And we have a song about the Battle of Stalingrad from World War II. And, and then we tend to write about, people a lot too, like Buzz Aldrin and Andre the Giant and just all kinds.
Right. Yeah.
I
mean, you guys got some comical shit in there. And some of your songs are about characters like Andre the Giant, but the names, the names of the songs are like an oxymoron, the exact opposite of what you are singing about. And I'm like, dude, that's great. That's creative stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to like make it super obvious,
Right.
But yeah, like the whole Buzz Aldrin song, "Sights of the Sky," that has Voivod's guitar player Chewy on it, and dude, it's amazing. Like every time I listen to it, I'm like, I can't believe he's playing on my record, And so, but So yeah, and that's always fun too, is working with other people just to give it that extra little bit of seasoning, you know,
Right.
and plus it just brings some, a little bit of extra, little extra to it, something that maybe we
Mhm.
wouldn't think of, and why not, I mean,
Right.
that's kind of part of it to us. Like, we'll play on people's things, people will play on our stuff, and it's like almost like a barter system for the musicians,
Right.
like, and so it's just a lot of fun just collaborating and stuff too, and bands used to do that stuff all the time, and I feel like maybe they still do that, but yeah, we love collaborating with other people as
Oh yeah,
well.
they still do. It's still very big on that. It's
Yeah,
very common.
yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun to get other people's takes on things, and
Hmm.
because a lot of the times it's like, I never would have thought to put that note there, or that scale, or that instrument, or whatever the case may be. And so,
Right.
I mean, we're just doing this because we like having fun, and it's like what
Mhm.
what we want to hear, and but then collaborating brings an extra added bonus of excitement.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it, man. You get different
Hmm.
perspectives and different ideas from multiple people.
Oh yeah.
And you can
Hmm.
make some. Obviously, people see it. You make amazing fucking music as a result.
Right. Yeah.
When you got something, we got one person who's got more experience in this, and one person that's got more experience in that. Make that
Exactly.
shit happen, man.
Exactly.
Amazing work has been created as a result.
It really, yeah, it really has. And sometimes they'll though the people you choose to work with will do something completely different than what they do in their day job or their
Right?
band or whatever.
Yeah, you'll
It's
get to
like,
see a side of them that they don't get to have on
yeah,
in their band, because their band might not be going that direction.
exactly.
So then they can bring it in, with another band and say, you know
Hmm.
what, I got this piece I've always had. I want to
Yep.
bring it in here. I can make this happen and make it work.
Right. Yeah, it's so much fun. Like, I did some rhythm guitar for a band here recently, and it's like probably stuff that we wouldn't do in Gravehuffer very often. It was
Mm,
like this real slow, doomy kind of thing, but it also had these real slow black metal melodies underneath it. It was really weird. Like, and then the guys in the band got it, and they're like, "Man, there's no way in hell we would have thought that about
mm,
that," And that's the first thing I thought. I was like, every time we ask somebody to guest on our stuff, that's what happens. It's like,
mm.
it's always like blows our minds, and it's so unexpected. So I love doing that stuff.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It really is. It
Yeah,
really
yeah.
is.
Unexpected can be a very beautiful thing. It's not
Oh
always bad.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
So, I hate this. I always over question my shit, but we are out of time, and I want to thank you so much
Thank you.
for we finally made this happen.
Yep.
Thank you so much for making the time out for to meet with me today.
No problem. Thanks for having
Before
me.
we get going, do you
Yeah.
have any messages you would like to portray to to all your fans and any maybe future musicians?
Yeah, I mean, the hustle is worth it. That's here lately I've been a little bummed about it, but I just feel like um it's just worth it, just keep doing what you do, keep hustling, and just don't let the negativity bog you down, and
Mm-hmm.
because people care, man, and sometimes it takes people saying something, and sometimes you got to drag it out of them,
Mm-hmm.
but just keep doing what you do and doing what you love. And as hippie as that sounds, it's like, I think
It's true though.
it is
It's
true, and
true.
I think if we have more happier people on the planet, then we'll just have a better place to live, man. And just keep doing what you love, and
Yeah.
you know, um, and as far as our fans, we're fans of yours. Like we love playing shows and hanging out with people and meeting new
Mm.
people. I mean, one of my probably my favorite part about it is just going to, like, we're gonna go play a show. I'm gonna meet a bunch of new people, and so
Right.
I love that. And you learn new things from people you've never met before, and it's still exciting to me at 47, 48 years old, and I think as long as it still continues to be exciting, then I think it's going to be good. So cheers, and I
Awesome.
appreciate it, everybody.
Yeah. Now I know we said this earlier, and I'll just say it again in case anyone missed it. If people wanted to look up your merch, find your
Hmm.
music, get some shirts, anything like that, where
Hmm.
can they? What pages can they go to?
I would suggest just hitting up our Bandcamp. It's gravehuffer.bandcamp.com, and that's where all of our merchandise is located. There's a merch tab right in the middle of the page, and we've got shirts and stickers and pics and vinyl and CDs and posters and just all kinds of stuff. Downloads, music, of course. Yeah, it's all up there. We've got a couple of new shirt designs up there right now with glow in the dark ink, and gosh, I can't remember what all's up there, but yeah, tons of cool stuff,
It's
and
all
more.
there.
It's all there, and
Yeah.
more new stuff coming. So yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Awesome. And everyone, keep an eye out in this fall. They got their vinyls coming out.
Yep.
For their recent album, and it's going to be in 3 colors.
3 colors.
Which is going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool to check that out.
It's going to be cool.
And you guys got a few tours set up, and they're going to be going all over the South, and they're coming towards Illinois. They're hitting us too.
That's right.
And hopefully Chicago.
Yeah. Yes.
And so other than that, thank you, Richie, so much for this, man. Definitely been looking forward to being able to talk to you, and I'd like to talk to you some more. So don't hang out. Don't disappear on me just yet.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So mad love and respect, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Mm-hmm.